Luis Antonio Tagle, a name that resonates deeply within the corridors of the Vatican and beyond. Born in Manila, Philippines, Tagle's journey to prominence is a tale of dedication, humility, and unwavering faith. From his early days, he exhibited a profound commitment to the Church, a commitment that would eventually see him rise to the highest echelons of ecclesiastical power. His name was known all over the Vatican, not just for his titles, but for the genuine warmth and compassion he exuded. The Vatican, with its majestic architecture and rich history, became a second home to him, a place where his influence grew steadily. A cardinal from the Philippines, Tagle's roots remained deeply embedded in his homeland. He often spoke of the vibrant faith of the Filipino people, drawing strength and inspiration from their unwavering devotion. People knew him for being humble, kind, and having a bright smile that could cheer anyone up. His demeanor was infectious, spreading joy and hope wherever he went. Whether addressing a large congregation or engaging in a one-on-one conversation, his sincerity was palpable. He quickly became important in the Church, not just for his administrative acumen, but for his ability to connect with people on a personal level. His speeches were not just words, they were a call to action, a plea for compassion and understanding in a world often divided by strife and discord. He became the Archbishop of Manila and the President of Caritas Internationalis, roles that amplified his influence and allowed him to champion causes close to his heart. Under his leadership, Caritas Internationalis expanded its reach, providing aid and support to countless individuals in need. Everyone knew how influential he was, not just within the Church, but in the broader global community. His voice carried weight, and his opinions were sought after by leaders and lay people alike. Tagle was a man of the people. He believed in the power of community and the importance of listening to the voices of the marginalized. His interactions were genuine, and he made it a point to be accessible to everyone, regardless of their status or background. He fought for the poor and those who were treated unfairly. His advocacy was not just in words, but in actions. He visited impoverished communities, listened to their struggles, and worked tirelessly to bring about meaningful change. He spoke out against things that were wrong, unafraid to challenge the status quo. His courage in the face of adversity inspired many to stand up for justice and equality. Millions of people listened to his words, finding solace and inspiration in his messages. His ability to connect with diverse audiences made him a beloved figure across the globe. But behind his charisma, there was a secret that few knew, but one that had the potential to reshape the very fabric of the Church. A secret that connected him to Pope Francis. Their bond was more than just professional. It was a shared vision for a more inclusive and compassionate Church, a secret that could change the Church forever. As the world watched, the story of Cardinal Tagle continued to unfold, promising hope, change, and a brighter future for all. People started whispering in secret. Cardinals gathered in corners, their faces full of worry. What did Pope Francis see in Tagle? Why was Tagle suddenly given so much power? Rumors spread quickly. Some said they had a shared past, a strong bond formed through difficult times. Others whispered about a prophecy, a prediction that connected the two men, their lives meant to be intertwined. The Vatican stayed quiet. They denied everything. But the whispers continued, fueled by a sense of uncertainty. It seemed like the truth was hidden deep within the Pope's heart. The truth was more unbelievable than anyone could have imagined. It was a tale that spanned decades, continents, and cultures, weaving together the lives of two men who seemed destined to meet. This story is not just about fate, but about the mysterious ways in which the universe works to bring people together for a higher purpose. It all began many years ago in the bustling city of Buenos Aires. The city, known for its vibrant culture and rich history, was the backdrop for the early life of Jorge Bergoglio. Buenos Aires, with its mix of European and Latin American influences, shaped the young man in profound ways. A young Jorge Bergoglio, who would later become Pope Francis, had a very spiritual experience. This experience was not just a fleeting moment, but a profound event that would guide his path for years to come. It was during his formative years in Buenos Aires that he first felt the stirrings of a greater calling. Some called it a vision. Others might describe it as a divine revelation or a moment of deep insight. Whatever it was, it left an indelible mark on young Bergoglio's soul. He saw something, or rather someone, that would stay with him forever. In this vision, he saw a man, not just any man, but a figure that seemed to radiate kindness and wisdom. This was not a face he recognized, but it felt familiar in a way that words could not explain. A man with a kind face and a warm smile, the kind of smile that could put anyone at ease, that could bridge gaps and bring people together. This man seemed to embody a sense of peace and understanding, a man from a faraway land. His attire and features suggested he was from a different culture, a different world altogether. Yet there was something universal about him, something that transcended boundaries and spoke to the shared humanity in all of us. The vision told of a shared purpose, a destiny that connected them. It was as if the universe was whispering secrets of a future collaboration, a partnership that would have significant implications for the world. Years later, Bergoglio met Cardinal Tagle. The meeting was not just a chance encounter, but a moment that seemed orchestrated by a higher power. It was as if the pieces of a grand puzzle were finally coming together. He looked exactly like the man in his vision. The same kind face, the same warm smile. It was a moment of recognition, a confirmation that the vision was not just a figment of his imagination. Their connection was instant and strong. It was as if they had known each other for years, as if their souls had been intertwined long before they ever met in person. This bond would go on to shape their actions and decisions in profound ways. It seemed like the prophecy was coming true. The vision that had guided Bergoglio all those years was now unfolding before his eyes. This meeting was not just the fulfillment of a personal prophecy, but a sign of greater things to come, a shared destiny unveiled. When the prophecy was revealed, it shocked the church. Some believed it was a sign from God, others thought it was just superstition. But for Tagle, it was a heavy burden. He became the keeper of the Pope's secret, a trusted friend in a world of secrets and suspicion. He carried the weight of the prophecy with grace and humility. He continued to work with the poor, his message of compassion even stronger now. But the secret followed him like a shadow. It changed how the church worked, shifting the balance of power in small but important ways. The Catholic world struggled to understand the news. Traditionalists laughed, reformers celebrated, sides were taken. Conservative groups within the Vatican felt threatened. Tagle represented change, a possible successor to Francis. When he was given important positions within the Curia, the church's governing body, they became even more anxious. The future of the church was uncertain. Would it hold on to tradition or accept change? It seemed like the answer lay in the hands of these two men, connected by destiny. Pope Francis had already changed the church in significant ways. He preached about mercy and compassion. He reached out to those who were marginalized and forgotten. He challenged the church to admit its mistakes, but not everyone liked his way. Conservatives resisted his changes. They wanted things to go back to the old ways, to a time of certainty. The prophecy and Tagle's growing influence only made them more anxious. The fight for the soul of the church had begun. Tagle, however, remained humble. He continued to fight for the poor. He spoke out against injustice. He called for a more welcoming church, one that accepted everyone, no matter their background or beliefs. Many people, especially young people, liked his vision. He represented a new kind of Catholic leadership, one that understood the modern world. But the question remained, would he be allowed to lead? Would the forces of tradition win in the end? The church was at a crossroads. The old ways were disappearing. The future was unclear. The prophecy, whether real or imagined, had unleashed powerful forces. The world watched closely. Would the church accept change? Would it find a way to heal the divisions within itself? The answers, like the prophecy itself, were still a mystery. Amidst the uncertainty and change, a silent revolution was taking place within the church. It was not marked by loud proclamations or grand gestures, but by quiet, profound shifts in perspective and practice. Gap 3S. In local parishes around the world, priests and lay people were engaging in deep, meaningful conversations. They were reimagining what it meant to be part of the church in the modern world, seeking ways to make faith more relevant and accessible to all. Gap 3S. Initiatives were sprouting up everywhere, driven by a newfound sense of purpose. Community gardens were being planted to feed the hungry. Support groups were forming to help those struggling with mental health issues. And educational programs were being expanded to reach the underserved. Gap 3S. The church was becoming a place of refuge and support, a beacon of hope in troubled times. This grassroots movement was creating ripples that reached all the way to the Vatican, inspiring church leaders to look beyond the walls of tradition and embrace the winds of change. Gap 3S. Pope Francis and Cardinal Tagle were at the forefront of this transformation, their actions and words resonating with the faithful. They were not just leading the church, they were walking alongside it, listening, learning, and adapting. Their humility and openness were infectious, encouraging others to do the same. Gap 3S. The prophecy had indeed set in motion a series of events that were reshaping the very fabric of the church. It was not just about predicting the future, but about inspiring a collective awakening, a call to action that transcended borders and cultures. Gap 3S. The silent revolution was a testament to the power of faith and community. It showed that even in the face of uncertainty, positive change was possible. It reminded everyone that the church was not just a building or an institution, but a living, breathing community of believers. Gap 3S. As the silent revolution continued to unfold, it brought with it a renewed sense of hope and possibility. It was a time of quiet miracles, of small acts of kindness that together created a powerful force for good. The church was evolving, and with it the hearts and minds of its followers. One thing was certain, the Catholic Church was changing. The winds of transformation were blowing through the ancient halls of the Vatican, stirring up centuries-old traditions and beliefs. The faithful and the clergy alike could feel the shift, a palpable sense of anticipation and uncertainty. It was a time when the old ways were being questioned and new ideas were being welcomed with cautious optimism. The old ways were making way for new ideas, new perspectives. The church was no longer just a bastion of tradition, it was becoming a beacon of progress. Priests were engaging more with their communities, listening to the voices that had long been silenced. Activists within the church were pushing for reforms, advocating for a more inclusive and compassionate approach to faith. The prophecy, at the very least, had forced the church to confront its past and think about its future. Ancient documents and archives were being revisited, and the clergy were in deep discussions about the path forward. The weight of history was heavy, but it was also a source of wisdom and guidance. The church was learning from its past mistakes and seeking to build a better future. The road ahead would be difficult, full of uncertainty. The path was foggy and the destination was not clear. But the church was under construction, both literally and metaphorically. It was a time of rebuilding, of laying new foundations while preserving the core values that had sustained it for centuries. The journey was fraught with challenges, but it was also filled with possibilities. But it was also a time of great hope. The faithful gathered in prayer, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of candlelight. There was a sense of unity, a collective belief that the church could emerge stronger and more resilient. Hopeful faces looked towards the future, believing in the promise of renewal and transformation. A time for the church to rediscover its core values, to reconnect with its mission of love, compassion, and service. Community activities and charity work were at the forefront, with the clergy leading by example. Helping the needy, offering solace to the troubled, and extending a hand to those in despair were becoming the hallmarks of the church's renewed mission. To embrace its mission of love, compassion, and service, the church was feeding the homeless, with volunteers working tirelessly to make a difference. The Pope himself was seen embracing people, offering not just words but actions that spoke of a deep commitment to humanity. It was a time of living the faith, of turning beliefs into tangible acts of kindness. The future was still being written. Each day was a new page, a fresh opportunity to shape the destiny of the church. The clergy were planning, meeting, and strategizing, aware that their decisions would have far-reaching implications. The blank pages were a symbol of potential, of the stories yet to be told. The destiny of the church, like the lives of the two men connected by prophecy, was yet to be fully revealed. As the sun rose over the Vatican, casting a golden hue on the ancient skyline, there was a sense of anticipation. Pope Francis and Cardinal Tagle, along with other church leaders, were deep in contemplation. The future was uncertain, but it was also filled with hope and promise. The journey was just beginning, and the world was watching. Please subscribe to our channel, History Documentary, for more intriguing stories and revelations.